everything, and we lift you on high. For in Jesus' mighty and glorious name we do pray. Amen.
All right. I request each one of us in this room to stand up for the national anthem. O Uganda, may God thee, we lay our future in thy hands. United free for liberty together will stand.
The East African anthem. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, tuiteshe kuishi kwa amani, tuizimize malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, indumu jumuiya yetu. Thank you.
You can kindly take your seats. Okay, thank you so much. Let's clap for the students that led us through those sessions. So at this juncture, I would want to just highlight the remaining points of the program. We have finished a wonderful meal. That was lunch. We have also finished the anthems and prayer. Now we are heading in for announcement of the breaks for public speech. And later we shall also have the breaks for the guest final debate. After that, we shall have the finals presentation of public speech. Then after that, we shall have the guest final debate. After the guest final debate, we shall have the announcement of breaking teams of the champs. And after that, we shall have the final presentation on poetry, followed by the champs finals. Then we shall have the final presentation of storytelling, then speeches and awards. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome the CA for debate. Here.
Hello. Good afternoon once again. My name is Kenya Nasaru Soke, and I'm the CA working alongside Arinda Xavier as the DCA. So we have just concluded our semi-finals for both guests. I'm seeing a lot of you organizing yourselves. For both guest teams and the champions team. We are now going to listen from the result of the rooms that you are in, particularly for the guest teams. The champions teams, you can wait and feel pressure a bit later. In room one, where we had Kawempe Muslim versus Kisoro Vision. Is it Kisoro Visionary or Kisoro Vision? Vision. Versus Kisoro Vision in the negative. All the three judges agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, all the three judges agreed that the team that proceeds to the finals of the USLDC of 2023 is none other than, drum rolls please, Kawempe Muslim. Now the rest of you who didn't clap, you are one step closer to being witch doctors. In room two, where we had Code High School in the affirmative, versus Mbale Senior Secondary School in the negative. Two of the three judges agreed that the school that proceeds to the very guest finals of the year 2023 is none other than, you know what to do, Mbale Senior Secondary School. The teams that I've just read, please send representatives to come in front and choose your sides as we also release the motion. Should we do all? Like we release the motion and we give them sides and then the program continues? Yeah. Where are my papers? Yeah, we are giving them sides and a motion and then the next person comes so that we don't have to come back for the same thing. Clap for the people that made it to the final. Don't worry, your time may be coming too. Emphasis on may. Okay, come and sit. I think the graphics team can release the motion as well. Okay. What did you choose?
Affirmative.
And you are?
Mbale SS.
Mbale. You chose negative, right?
Oh? Yes, negative.
Okay. In the affirmative side for the finals, we're going to have Mbale Senior Secondary School. And in the negative side, we'll have Kawempe Muslim Secondary School, right? And the teams can both agree we did not rig this choosing process. It was entirely by fate. And yes, the battle does begin officially. So they are going to release the motion as I hand back over to Festo. Is the motion ready? Not yet? Okay, as Festo gets ready to release the motion in graphics, the motion is as follows. You can go and sit because you have to write. The motion for the finals is as follows. For a sustainable fight, this House contends that international partnerships are essential, even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. Resolved, for a sustainable fight, this House contends that international partnerships are essential, even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. Good luck to the teams. Thank you. You have a maximum of 10 minutes to prepare, and the debate will begin. So you can actually come and take your seats. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so please, teams, I'm informed that teams that are going to debate, come and prep from this side. We don't want any help from the patrons, parents, AI. Please come and avoid corruption from the audience and present the actual reality on the floor. At this juncture, I would want to announce something small, that on my extreme right, the space is reserved for only guests. So please, on this extreme right, please don't occupy those seats unless if you're a guest. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome the CA for public speech to announce the person presenting the final speech.
Okay, hi everyone. Unlike what Andrew said, we're going to be announcing the person who topped for storytelling, and I hope Wangusa did us justice to go ahead and tell you the task that you will be doing for the finals. And before I read the person that will be presenting their story, I will allow Wangusha Ashim, who is also graduating, or who has graduated today with me, Bachelor's of Arts with Education in Economics and in Literature and English. Please do announce.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Just for clarity, here is your task. Justice unveiled in courts. Create a narrative where a relentless investigative journalist or detective unravels a complex web of corruption, culminating in the exposure and pursuit of justice against powerful individual or institutions. Justice Unveiled create a narrative where a relentless investigative journalist or detective unravels a complex web of corruption, culminating in the exposure and pursuit of justice against powerful individuals or institutions. Good luck.
All right, as the guest teams are preparing for their debate, the person that I'm going to be reading as the individual that topped for storytelling. There were two participants, Arjuna and Pius, the best storyteller, and who will be telling us their particular story for this particular task. Obviously, that person is the one that won from the preliminary rounds. So they're just coming to cement their win and give us a reason as to why we need to listen to their story. That is none other than, drum rolls, Bambi. You guys need to celebrate every small win. That is none other than Arjuna Desire. Congratulations. From Boneconsil. So you are going to have 4 minutes to give us your story.
Right now.
I hope you have prepared enough because you are coming on stage right about now. Immediately you're done, I will hand over to the debate guest. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. I begin my story in 3. Okay. Right. Thank you. I begin in 3, 2, 1. It looked like corruption is okay. It's fine. It is something that each one of us feels it is part of us. Someone goes to the parliament to represent people, and they are asking behind, the same people are asking, but why? He's not building. He has little time there. He's losing, actually. He should be wise. The wisdom we are talking about in our society is being corrupt. You can imagine, it really hurts. The wisdom is being corrupt. A fool is not corrupt. In a nation, I cannot define. A parent is asking, why are you going to school and you're not performing? Maybe I can talk to your teacher. That's my parent. I come to school, I'm told I have to perform, and if I don't perform, I have to pay. Really, double fees is going to be a corruption that is going to pay for I not being serious. This is what is happening in our society. But here comes a savior who is now confused, attending the high school debates, attending some workshops. She's told corruption is not good. It is something that is a cancer on everyone's body in a country where the poor are now facing the repercussions of corruption. This lady is developing in a country where at home she's told you have to be corrupt. At school she's told you have to be partially corrupt. She's confused. She pursues her studies in all those difficulties. But at the end of the day, she's running to understand. She's trying to understand what is really right. She continues to see as a journalist, analyze some documents from a certain company, she realizes since Mr. H entered this company, it has leakages. It is not progressing. She's trying to understand what is happening within the company. This is the corruption we are talking about. By audits, she realizes since this manager entered the company, they have been losing. There is a progress in losing, you can imagine, and people are appreciating. She realizes there has been corruption in the company. This is exposed to the authorities, and these people have actually taken steps after this person growing and developing in a corrupt village, a corrupt society. But because of education, she sees light in the future, tries to analyze, tries to scrutinize, and understand that there is corruption in this constitution. This company has faced corruption. It is not only the company, only the employees, but the people where the services must be delivered. This person is trying to help all of us. This is what we all have to do. The corruption we are facing in our homes, the corruption in the societies, it is what we are supposed to do as this journalist, as this person who has grown in confusion, not because actually wanted to fight corruption, but the confusion of how the society perceives corruption and what she is told. In the confusion of the two incidents, this person decides to be a non-corrupt citizen. She has helped me, she has helped you. Let us all fight corruption from the experience of our own journalist. Thank you.
Participants for the finals, please take your seats right now. All participants that paired, please take your seats.
Then another thing.
Judges, I've come with them.
Okay.
Okay, participants for the finals, please take your seats. We have other two teams in waiting, and they are able and willing. Once again, welcome back to the finals for guest teams. Please clap for them. Muihehe nugu, clap for people. Congratulations, Kawempe Muslim and Mbale Secondary School. I think you have noticed that the teams have started changing. We've moved from the people who used to dominate these stages, which is evidence that debate is growing. Ladies and gentlemen, these are going to be the judges for the guest championships. The chair for this panel is going to be Luswata Simon. Simon Luswata, please clap for him as he comes. Simon Luswata, are you in the room? Pardon? Is he around? Okay, I'm going to cancel out Simon Luswata, who has stepped out, and make my DCA chair, Mr. Xavier. Arinda Xavier, please clap for him. Xavier is the Deputy Chief Adjudicator for this tournament, and he has done a tremendous job, an incredibly tremendous job. And he's not only a DCA, he's a seasoned debater, a seasoned judge, and I can't doubt that he's going to do a really good job. The other person in the panel is going to be Jotham. Jotham Arinetwe. Arinetwe Jotham. Yes, clap for him. Jotham is a debater and a judge, and he's going to grace the panel this evening. The other judge is going to be Cynthia. Cynthia, Please clap for the beautiful lady. Some of the ladies in here who aspire to judge, train debaters, and be incredible debaters like yourself, you have a real good figure to look up to. We are also going to have Lowell. Lowell, I saw Lowell. Yes, Lowell has fans. Yes. Where is Lowell? I just talked to him. Yeah, Lowell is an incredible debater and a seasoned judge. Please come and take your seat, sir. We are more than honored. And then finally, I'm going to have our tab master. I was looking for the other letter, TM. Our tab master, who has been a tab master too long. He also needs to train me so I can take over from him. And an incredible debater and a judge, Rin Joash Mabonga, who is also going to be a part of our 5-person panel. I am going to, oh, that is me. Okay, I was looking for the motion, and I found myself. Do we have a motion? The timing is going to be as follows. All speakers are going to have exactly 5 minutes for presentation. I've been corrected by the chair. There are 4.5 minutes for presentation. 4.5 minutes for presentation. And 1 minute for cross-examination. There is no prep time. You've had enough prep time. There's no prep time because we are running for time. I don't know if you have the motion. If you don't, I am sure the the chair can read it from where he is. Other than that, the minute I step off this panel, the debate starts. The rest of you, please keep quiet. If you're so excited, stamp your feet or send me mobile money. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. For a sustainable fight, this House contends that international partnerships are essential even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. Now, in this particular debate, we are going to take sovereignty as, that sort of like supreme power of authority for a specific country, right? So we have to understand where this sovereignty is going to be enacted in the first place, and two, how it actually looks like if we continue to, regard the national sovereignty as something that is going to be like so priceless and forget about what the impacts of corruption are at the very end of the day. Two, what we did not expect to majorly come from team opposition today is the aspect of autonomy. Why? Because we have to understand that corruption already deprives any country from the aspect of autonomy at the very end of the day, right? It then means that if we are having, if we are having corrupt officials influencing decisions that are supposed to, be able to make the lives of other people better, it then means that the country does not have autonomy at the very end of the day. What we are going to be showing to you today as team proposition is simply we are going to be giving to you a comparison of what it then looks like if we say that we are going to continue maintaining the country's sovereignty over what would then happen if we allow the international partnerships to actually engage into the war against corruption at the very end of the day. Now, we have to understand that the international partnerships in this case do not have the urge to come up and do things such as exploitation and what have you. These are specific like partnerships or organizations or other countries that come together simply because they want to end the vice of corruption. Why? It's simply because they know of the adverse effects of corruption at the very end of the day, right? If we are to look at how corruption then affects law enforcement, where we see that corruption could be existent within the police force, and then we see that a lot of abuse of power is executed, a lot of extortion is carried out at the end of the day. We see that there is a lot of compromise in terms of effectiveness of how these institutions are supposed to run at the very end of the day, right? It then means that we have to understand that corruption has now reached a level of urgency at the very end of the day, right? So this is why we as team proposition then feel that international partnerships are essential, even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. But now understand one thing, we cannot be able to come up and say that we're going to uphold national sovereignty of a country that is completely dominated by corruption. Why? Because corruption already rips off a country from its sovereignty at the very end of the day, right? So what do we then advocate for? We see of things like combined global efforts to remove corruption and any form of corruption that is going to be existent within any country. So why do we then feel that international partnerships are able to best achieve this? One is because they cannot be influenced at the very end of the day. We come to realize that a lot of measures have been put into place today and have failed to work simply because we are having influence of, like, let's say, the corrupt politicians that are influencing of the programs that are supposed to help to put down corruption at the very end of the day. And this is necessarily what makes it very inefficient for us to come up and say that we're going to use any sort of like any sort of like what we have been using previously or what is happening in status quo today, and we'll be able to resolve corruption at the very end of the day. Two, we look at things like resource pooling at the very end of the day. Why? Because we look at international partnership. Take an example of organizations like GIZ, take an example of other countries or other foreign countries that come together simply because they want to end the issue of corruption. Why do they want to do this? We are going to emphasize to you, these specific international partnerships want to do this not because they feel that they want to obtain something from these countries, no, but they understand how much the people are suffering at the very end of the day due to the outcomes of what corruption is then doing. How many people are dying simply because of like the poor health systems that are existent in status quo at the very end of the day, right? So at the very end of the day, what we talk about as resource pooling is that the international partnerships do it for love and for love to end corruption at the very end of the day. So what we then look at is that we cannot be able to have that aspect of exploitation occurring at the very end of the day. Why? Because we are going to be having strong institutions, right? If we see that we are going to have the international partnerships coming together to make sure that the policies are going to be properly enforced at the very end of the day, it then means that corruption ceases to exist at a point in time where the justice institutions are also very strong. Ready for cross-examination? Pardon? Did the World Bank understand our suffering before it put our funds? For that question to be relevant, it then means that you have to connect that question to the fight against corruption. Has the World Bank been funding anti-corruption? Is it easier to influence someone who is poor? Pardon? Is it easier to influence someone who is poor? Yeah, it is very easy to influence someone that is poor.
Is this, okay. The next question is, how long did it take Uganda to earn self-governance?
Pardon?
How long did it take Uganda to earn self-governance?
Okay, the aspect of autonomy then, okay, what you...
The answer, okay, fine.
Let me answer your question.
Is sovereignty of any importance to the nation's development?
Pardon?
Is sovereignty of any importance to the nation's development?
Without existence of corruption, it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Speaker, So can everybody hear me? Okay. So I'll start my timer. So I'll start my timer in 3, 2, 1. Chair, notice that the burden of team proposition is not to necessarily tell us the importance of these kind of partnerships, but they have to actually draw for us a comparison and show us why then even at an event where these kind of partnerships are putting these kinds of nations at a risk of losing their sovereignty, then these kind of partnerships become very essential, right? Now, before I go to rebuttal, I would like to show you what kind of like a sustainable fight looks like. A sustainable fight looks like a fight where we are able to like not have very many risks putting these particular nations at risk, but also secondly, it is a fight where we can do something over and over, right? I'll show you why this then is important in this debate. But also secondly, we feel like at the case in point where something is essential, it is when we confront this particular thing, but also secondly, we feel like something essential is something that is less likely to create a negative impact, right? Now, to go on to what they came to tell us about, like, you know, how autonomy is not necessarily important in this debate. Now, Chair, we think that sovereignty in and of itself is important. Why? First of all, notice that these kinds of countries, the developing countries, hold sovereignty of much importance. That is why we have these particular countries investing a lot in this kind of like, you know, sovereignty, like creating impacts, right? But also secondly, we feel like at the end of the day, if at all they hold this kind of sovereignty more importantly, then we feel like there is not going to be like very much of inclusion into this kind of partnership. Notice that what this kind of partnership looks like is not necessarily having the ability to suppress corruption in these other countries, right? We feel like the levels of corruption in particular countries differ. So we feel like it's a particular country that knows the best measures to uptake so as to fight this kind of corruption. Or even at a case in point where their world is implemented. We feel like at a case in point where Kenya has more corruption levels and the leaders in Kenya do not want to do away with corruption, then we're having a partnership with such a kind of country. Then we feel like a country like Uganda is not going to benefit at the end of the day, right? But also secondly, we feel like these kind of partnerships are going to expose this particular country to this particular kind of like sovereignty risk where they're going to lose their sovereignty. And we tell you that necessarily important in this debate, because if at all you're to fight corruption, you must be independent. You must have like clear ideas, and these ideas come from you necessarily, because this corruption kind of like manifests in this particular country that you're in, and we feel like decisions cannot come from outside parties. Why? Because we tell you corruption levels are very different, and we don't think that decisions or like particular implementation levels will like be important for all countries, right? But also secondly, Chair, notice that there are very many power dynamics in status quo where this country is like more poor than the other. At that case in point, we feel like at a case in point where my sovereignty is going to be like diminished, we feel like then these particular countries are going to be suppressed. Why? At a case in point where, let me give an example of Kenya, where Kenya is more corrupt and we're having this kind of partnership, it can necessarily use this kind of enforcement to exploit Uganda in and of itself. Why? Because if at all Uganda is going to be like willing, exposing itself, thinking that Kenya in and of itself is going to help it fight corruption, and that is not necessarily what's going to happen at the end of the day, we feel like Uganda in and of itself is being put at a risk, right? We feel like if at all this kind of like partnerships one did not have the potential to compromise this kind of national sovereignty, then we would go with that. They come and talk about like resource pooling and the kind of urgency, you know how urgency is all needed in this debate. We feel like if at all we are to consider things like urgency, then if at all we are going to consider urgency, then a decision that should be taken urgently is one that is not going to expose us to a risk. If at all this kind of decision, however much it is urgent, it is not necessarily going to solve the problems of corruption, as we tell you that this kind of problems are different in particular countries, then we feel like this kind of urgency does not matter in the first place. But also secondly, we feel like the resource pooling is not necessarily true. Why? Because these particular countries have different burdens and different levels of corruption. So I feel like this kind of priority will exist on their side of the house, where this resource pooling will not necessarily happen at the end of the day. So, Chair, we feel like these particular countries can necessarily fight corruption in and of themselves without exposing themselves to a risk of like diminished sovereignty by like freezing accounts of these particular individuals, you know, denying them access to transferring money across these particular countries. We then feel like if at a case in point where we are compromising national sovereignty, it is then not a sustainable fight. think it's off.
Thank you, Steve. I have two questions for you. Now, do the countries have the ability to execute the measures of corruption, against corruption?
Yes, if they are independent, they do.
So what is the partnership?
What is a partnership?
Yes.
A partnership can vary. It differs according to what those particular individuals are
How
partnering.
are you defining a partnership?
A partnership is necessarily where these particular individuals are going to come up trying to create a particular solution, whereby we tell you that these solutions vary from different countries.
That's the solution you're trying to bring up that necessitates the fight against corruption, the fact that there are no adequate resources. How do you guarantee the fight against corruption?
I don't think the resources will come from different countries because these countries drop priority.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Resolved. For a sustainable fight, this House contends to international partnerships international partnerships are essential, even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. Like in the first speech of the negative, we get the fact that it's a comparison between a country's sovereignty to be upheld or we address the adverse effects of corruption. Now, a country, to begin with, a country is not the name. A country is the people that live in it. Taking a look at a country like Uganda, more than 70% of its people are living below the poverty line. But then what do we see? What do we see? By 2021, Uganda is one of the top 20 countries that ranks highest in as far as corruption is concerned. A country with more than 70% of its people living below the poverty line, spending less than $1 a day, hardly affording 2 meals a day, is a country which is ranking highest when it comes to corruption. What does that bring to your mind, dear judges? We come to realize that the effects of corruption are so adverse. Mothers in the hospitals are dying during birth because these people who are supposed to supply the services, the income, the funds that are supposed to be used in hospitals is swindled. The mothers cannot have the drugs. Now, if we are comparing the effects of corruption and we're looking at it, we're bringing on board and telling you that we are in a state of urgency. We need to address this. More than 900,000 children die because of malaria. Malaria that seems to be a minor disease, but then what happens? People don't get the nets because the nets are swindled. The money that is supposed to be used for nets is swindled. Now, shall we continue to uphold the sovereignty of a country, or shall we save the people in this country? Uganda shall remain Uganda. We shall uphold the sovereignty. But at the end of the day, we are going to realize that Uganda will not exist when all its people have been consumed by the effects of this corruption. What comes on the team negative? They feel that... Now, let me first answer this question, which they actually... Did World Bank understand the situation before withdrawing its help from Uganda? World Bank gives loans to Uganda. World Bank does not contribute in the fight against corruption in as far as Uganda is concerned. World Bank gives loans to Uganda. By 2021, it was giving at an interest rate of about 3.5%. Its main goal is to make profit. This is a commercial thing. And for them withdrawing their help is because they are attached to the United States. And the United States is not coming to Uganda to fight corruption. It is coming here to promote the LGBTQ. That is not corruption. So World Bank becomes irrelevant in this debate. It is not fighting corruption in Uganda. And therefore, that is not a subject to talk about in this debate. You can ask me about organizations like GIZ, which is from Germany, which is helping Uganda fight corruption. Are we having problems with GIZ? Ladies and gentlemen, let's understand this. We can have the country's sovereignty. It is a weight between the sovereignty and the adverse effects of corruption. More than 70% of people living below the poverty line. People hardly avoiding 2 meals a day. Mothers dying in hospitals during deliveries. And yet we continue to uphold the sovereignty of a country. That does not stand. Now, they bring on board that actually the partnerships are going to expose these countries into other risks, sovereignty risks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a partnership. It's not giving up power. Uganda is, like they give us an example of Uganda and Kenya. Uganda is not of giving up power, then that ceases to become a partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, what we should understand in this particular debate is that either we save the people of our country or we continue to shout in the name of sovereignty. We shall be like barking dogs, and yet our people continue to die due to the effects of corruption. With that, I beg to submit. Yeah.
So as I quote from this, if it involves giving up power, it is not a partnership, right?
If it's giving up power.
So you then believe that if at all these international partnerships then compromise national security.
In our side of the house, a partnership is a two-way party. We sit down and agree.
Please listen to the question. So you mean at a case in point where they're going to compromise national security, then it is not essential, right?
You do not actually get me in this particular speech.
Is the money given to us by World Bank used to fight corruption?
The money given to Uganda is to address its deficit budget.
Okay. Is the involvement of society in the fight against corruption?
Pardon?
Is the involvement of society in the fight against corruption essential?
Yeah, literally it's essential.
Okay. Do all countries have a problem with corruption?
Some other countries have zero corruption.
So at a case in point where they all have, are these rates different?
I said some other countries have zero corruption rate, and therefore if you need to know that, why don't you just Google that?
Okay, so which means that a case in point where we have different rates of corruption, then the solutions become different, right?
There are things that are cross-cutting.
There are things that are cross-cutting.
Definitely.
But a case in point where I'm more corrupt, then I'm more likely to suppress you, right?
Pardon?
At a case in point where I'm more corrupt, I'm more likely to suppress you for my own benefit.
And that now should, actually, if you're saying you're more corrupt, then I'm not taking you in for a partner.
Then you're not taking into a partnership. So you've done a very bad job at characterizing us how this kind of partnerships look like. That's not our problem. So secondly, why treating sovereignty is very important to put it at a risk, even at a case where
So in our side of the house, we feel that if we continue to uphold sovereignty, ignoring the conditions of our own people, then we would actually be upholding the name. And at the end of the day, we lose the very people that we claim we are having in our country.
we can have a partnership without compromising national security.
I begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. What is a sustainable fight when fighting corruption? 1, this is a fight that involves the people, the society, because they are the most affected and the majority of the people. 2, it's something where everyone has a say, from the lower levels of people to the higher levels of people involved. Now, on their side of the house, we are going to see that this at all, it's not going to be sustainable because 1, it doesn't involve the people who are mostly affected. Those are the citizens of Uganda. And 2, everyone doesn't have a say because it's between the higher-ups of the other partner with the higher-ups of this partner. So where do we go? Now, 1, the big question to ask, are these partnerships, is it worth it to put the sovereignty at risk for the fight against corruption? Let me answer this by saying, let's look at the effects of diminished sovereignty versus the effects of fighting corruption. Now, what are the effects of diminished sovereignty? We are going to see that this particular country, what is sovereignty on our side of the house? This is as they say, the supreme power of a country to uphold its symbols and stuff. This is the point in time where a country has different power to defend itself. Now, this particularly means it has a national security. Now, if at all there are effects of a diminished sovereignty, we are going to see that if at all they heavily involved, if at all developing countries like Uganda heavily invest in these sovereignties, if at all they become diminished, we are going to see that one, there's going to be war, catastrophic war, because these particular countries are going to see that this developing country cannot hold its sovereignty enough, so they would look at it as a chance to actually come and declare war, or two, they can come and decide to actually exploit our resources. Now, these are one of the effects of diminished sovereignty, and we believe on our side of the house that these effects outweigh those of fighting corruption, because the effects of fighting corruption are there's going to be loss of money, there's going to be this and that, but at the end of it all, we are going to see that the country is still going to uphold its national sovereignty, which is the most important on our side of the house, and we believe the effects of a diminished sovereignty outweigh those of fighting corruption. So on our side of the house, we believe that it is not worth it to put the sovereignty of a different country at a risk. Now, two, they come and we ask them a question in cross-examination: if different countries have different rates of corruption, they agree to that, and they say there are some who have even near zero rate of corruption. So for us on our side of the house, we believe that if at all there are different rates in which corruption manifests, then there are different solutions to be taken when different countries are actually fighting for their own corruption. Now, let me take an example. For a country like Malaysia with more than near 0% of corruption, we're going to see that they are not actually going to come out and start declaring that, oh wow, we are going to arrest this people, we're going to do this and that. They are going to actually take their things in account. Unlike Uganda, which is ranked number 144th in the world for being the most corrupt, right? Now, there are going to be different approaches for these different countries actually take care of this corruption. Now, if at all their side of the house can't tell us how these particular partners, these different countries, as they say, actually going to come and show us how they are going to fight corruption the same way, we believe that their side of the house can't win this debate. Now, we come and tell you, we come and show you that what is the relevancy of having these things, these partnerships that potentially compromise national sovereignty. Let's look at the World Bank. They come and tell us that the World Bank used to fund the deficit budget, and we agree. Then we ask them a question during examination: if at all this budget was used in the fight against corruption, they don't know. Let me tell you, because when the budget is broken down, it's broken down into different sectors. That is to say, this money is for education, this money is for fighting corruption, this and this and that. So if at all the World Bank, because the different cultures and morals they were fighting for, Uganda can't uphold them, that is to say LGBTQ. What is the problem for Kenya, a country? It's going to come out, if at all we are partnering and say, oh, you are doing this and that against our Turkana people, you think they are this and that, so we can't uphold this partnership. They don't tell us how their side of the house is actually going to work away with that. Now, why we, on our side of the house, we say that it shouldn't be essential if at all a partnership is going to potentially compromise the sovereignty of a country. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't have very many questions for you. The first question: where is the supreme power of authority of a country circulated?
Beg your pardon?
Where is the supreme power of authority of a country saturated?
Through its ability to actually protect itself, through its ability to actually hold supreme power and keep their citizens in check.
Okay, the answer was very simple. It is the justice system.
Yeah.
Two, should we all agree together that Malaysia has the low levels of corruption simply because it has a strong justice system?
Now, particularly, if at all it has a strong justice system, then if at all your
Yes
side
or
of
no?
the house is advocating for partnerships,
Yes or
then
no?
it shouldn't be essential. Because how are the partnerships
Okay.
going to bring
The
about
right
the
answer
stronger
for this
justice
was supposed
system?
to be, Malaysia has a strong justice system, and thus it is able to overcome corruption on its own self, right? So it then means that we also need, we as a country like Uganda don't have those justice systems to that level of strength.
I
That is
thought
why
you
we
came
suffer
to
from
ask
corruption.
questions.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
Has World Bank ever specialized in anti-corruption of Uganda?
Just before you go, I want to ask you that, has World Bank ever brought about anything that isn't money for funding the budget? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will receive the ballot.
Thank you, Chair. I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. For a sustainable fight, this House contains that international partnerships are essential even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. Now, this is what we kind of argue for in this particular debate. Now, Chair, understand that the fight against corruption is a combined effort, and understand that Uganda, as a low-developing country, it doesn't have the resources to man this anti-corruption. That's why we have international organizations such as GIZ, Transparency International, giving a hand to Uganda in the fight against corruption. Now, Chair, allow me zero down this debate on basis of autonomy of the justice system. Now, Chair, understand the situation whereby in their side of the House, I hear them in their second speech trying to tell us that civil engagement is also essential in the fight against corruption. Now, it is essential, we agree, that in the fight against corruption, but understand the poor justice system of the country. Yes, these cases are going to go ahead and be reported, but if we still have manipulation of the justice system, we feel that the matter of corruption in the end is not going to be worked upon in the very end. Now, Chair, understand, this entire debate zeroes down to the understanding, if the justice system is in proper state of handling these kinds of matters of corruption, and actually being given the supreme power to man this, then we feel that corruption is going to be fought in an effective manner. Now, Chair, understand in this particular debate, we look at corruption as a state of urgency. We look at the impact of corruption far being worse and affecting this common man out there. Look at the poverty levels in the country. Look at deaths of people. This is the fact that we have poor health system in the very end of the day, the bad roads that resort to accidents in the very end of the day, the poor education system in the very end of the day, and the poor infrastructure. Now, see, Chair, in this particular debate, we cannot uphold the national sovereignty if we are seeing that we are looking at a situation whereby the common man is being affected. So it's like a country is made up of people. So it's like the government officials need to uphold their sovereignty for the sake of the suffering of the people. Now, that is what we try to not get from their side of the House entirely, and that turns out to be logical in this particular debate. Now, Chair, understand whereby they come and tell to us that there is going to be exposed to sovereignty risks in the very end of the day, such as wars. But, Chair, understand in this particular debate, we are looking at sovereignty of the justice system. If the justice system is in place of actually going ahead and making its independent decisions, giving justifications to these particular culprits of corruption in the right manner, then we feel that corruption is going to be actually manned in the very end of the day. Now, Chair, understand whereby in this particular debate as Team Affirmative, we are advocating for international partnerships as key, essential, even if they potentially compromise national sovereignty. In this debate, we looked at corruption being a state of urgency, and we are looking at the impact of corruption actually being so problematic to the common man out there. Now, Chair, we feel that in this particular debate, we have better chances of winning this particular debate. In their side of the House, they argue that autonomy is key, but understand a situation whereby the sovereignty of a country is not key if it's actually going to suppress the citizens in the very end of the day. So then we feel that these international organizations are key in terms of actually fighting corruption, despite the fact that they are going to compromise the national sovereignty in the very end of the day. Now, the theme of this year in terms of fighting corruption is strengthening partnerships in the war against corruption. Now, this already looks like Uganda has to get more into a combined effort against corruption, and then we feel that this is going to be a go-ahead in the fight of corruption. Now, in this particular debate, we win on basis that we are looking at the effects of corruption affecting more the common man, and we are looking at it being a state of urgency at the very end of the day. What they are trying to advocate for in this particular debate didn't stand because all what they brought was actually null and void. With that, I beg to submit. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely day. So I'll be summing up this debate. I'll begin my speech at C, A, B, C.
So particularly the purpose of our side of the house is not to totally go against the international partnerships, but we are regardless saying that they should not be essential if at all they are potentially compromising national sovereignty. They should exist. If at all the potential of compromising national sovereignty is there, they should exist, but not at the essential point, right? They should exist, but not essentially. But if at all they don't compromise national sovereignty, they're okay. We can go on with them. Some of the things they talk about are resources, the fact that we don't have resources. But Pano, understand that if I told you tell us that Uganda doesn't have enough resources to fight corruption, how is it going to be helpful to a country that also doesn't have enough resources to fight corruption? Obviously, it's going to be influenced because it's the one that is needing particular things. This is going to make it easier for it to be influenced. We asked them in cross-examination, is it easier to influence someone who is poor over someone who is rich? So particularly if at all a country doesn't have resources to particularly curb the corruption they're talking about, it ends up being compromised and vulnerable to being influenced. Look at what we asked them in a question in the cross-examination. Did the World Bank understand our situation before they pulled out their funding? Particularly, they tell us that this is not related to corruption, but understand that the funding they give us is also used, a percentage is used to fight the corruption, so it affects us. But the president of Uganda decided to prioritize the sovereignty over the fact that we needed the funding in the end of it all. We have a deficit budget, and that is understood. Even the people of Uganda know it that we have a deficit budget and we need the funding from the World Bank, but they did not care as long as the fact that the president prioritized the sovereignty, and that is why we are fighting for this in the end of it all. We talked to you about this what a sustainable fight looks like from our second speech. We tell you that it's a fight that involves the people and it has equal involvement, whereby a country that is having a high rate of corruption and a country that has a low rate of corruption, they don't need the same solution for that particular involvement. So obviously, if I thought the solution here is to strengthen the justice system and the solution here is to audit, the country that has the highest power is going to influence, and obviously we are going to deal with the justice system. But when in our side of the house we need the auditing, and if I thought this country that is more influential needs auditing, it's obviously going to make us all do the auditing when we need justice, when we need to strengthen the justice system, which is something that is not supposed to be involvement. Let's look at the sociability. Honorable Chagulanyi fails to differentiate whether or not he's going to prioritize sovereignty. He says that maybe if at all I am to make the decision of the LGBTQ law, I'm going to think about that. People decide to troll him simply because he does not prove if at all he's going to actually prioritize national sovereignty. This shows that the people demand that. And if at all the people are not involved in this particular fight, it is not going to be a sustainable fight, because we define for a sustainable fight as something that is involving the people. This is going to face backlash from the people. If at all they see that the countries that are actually helping us are actually going to make us influence in the end of it all. Let's look at the vulnerability of the country. This is very important because, first of all, this is a developing country. Secondly, there's a high rate of corruption in this particular country. And thirdly, we don't have the resources to curb the particular society, right? In the end of it all, you understand that we are going to be useless to those other countries if at all we have nothing to offer. So we are going to accept anything they're going to bring in. This is why the vulnerability is something that is the big case in this particular debate, and they don't tell us how it is going to be something that is useless. Let's talk about the effectiveness. There are power dynamics in the particular society that they are actually advocating for. Let's talk about the level of urgency. It's not important for you to be very fast if at all you're not going to be effective and you're going to be compromising things. If at all you're not going to be having the support of the people, even if you're urgent and you're not solving the problem, it is something that is not relevant. Let's talk about the fact that they are saying that we cannot be influenced. This is something that I've already explained. They talk about things like understanding the sovereignty, the fact that we are compromising power, the justice system. You see, Malaysia has a soft justice system, and our justice system is very low. So they have no need to look at the justice system, right? The other things they have to look at are the things like auditing and how they are involving the people. So obviously they're going to make us do those things because their justice system is already okay. So in the end of it all, you understand if at all we have nothing to offer, we're also going to be influenced in the end of it all. They talk about the fact that we need a combined effort, but a partnership does not have to be international for it to be a partnership in the end of it all. And if at all it is compromising sovereignty, we are saying it is not supposed to be essential. When they talk about something that is essential, understand that this means something that's going to be very important. But if at all we say that it's not going to be important, it's not going to be a priority, it's not going to be a priority if at all it has potential. If at all there's suspected potential, like the World Bank, we say no, my friend, that is because there was potential for us to compromise our sovereignty. Thank you.
We thank the debaters for such a fine debate. Could we all appreciate them by applauding? We all have fun, yeah? Yes. The brilliant speakers from the panel of judges, we really appreciate you. And we'll take our leave, we will deliberate, and we will
Why would you guys turn it off? This one. All right. Thank you very much to the panel and to the debaters. Thank you very much. I will now ask you to go and take your seats, and as you cool off, things are going to be fine. So I welcome you all from the guest finalist championship. I am now going to read for you the teams that qualified for the champions of the champions championship. People have titles. The champions of the champions championship. In room 1, is that me? Perfect. In room 1, where we had Kira College Butiki in the affirmative, and Mengo Senior School in the negative. All the 3 judges, people of God, all the 3 judges in room 1 felt that the team that qualified for the champions of the champions final championship event is none other than Uganda, Mengo Senior School. I don't make the judgments, I only read them. In room 2, where we have Ntare School. You people know there are only 2 schools in the country, right? Only 2. Ntare School and Nyakasura School. Now in this room, where we have Ntare School, Vasin, Smack, all the 3 judges agreed. But ladies and gentlemen, the second and final team to qualify for the Champions of Champions final championship is none other than the school. You didn't even ask me which one, eh? Now you understand it. You understand how it works. So I'm going to invite the representatives of Ntare and Mengo to come and pick their sides. Meanwhile, the motion is going to be as follows. Graphics team, do you have it already? Or can I read it from the phone? You have it? Right. As the graphics team marks on the motion for finals is going to be as follows. This house supports the online demonization. This house supports the online demonization of perceived. You people, you come here and you debate things you didn't hear. Of perceived corrupt government officials. This house supports the online demonization of perceived corrupt government officials. Now you hear people, but we don't have done investigation. Okay. The team, please come forward. We have 2 teams in waiting. Should I invite those? Should I invite the 2 teams in waiting? I need just 1 representative from each team. This house supports the demonization of perceived corrupt government officials. This house supports the demonization of perceived corrupt government officials. Are you ready? Congratulations. Breathing hard doesn't help you. Ntare. Mengo versus Ntare. In the affirmative side, we're going to have Mengo Senior School, and in the negative side, we'll have Ntare School. In the affirmative side, we'll have Mengo Senior School, and in the negative side, we'll have Ntare School. Notice that in this championship, we don't have a secondary school, not even one. We have a senior school and a school. The judges for the finals are going to be as follows. Myself and I, Kenyana Sara Soke, will lead the panel. I'll be working alongside the DCA, Xavier Arinda, who needs no introduction, the fine gentleman, Titus Ngabirano, the CA for speech, Adungo David Onyogo, and the Africa debate champion, Peter Eliano. They are going to join me in a few. But as of this moment, allow me to invite Adungo to come and handle storytelling as the debaters get ready, because immediately after storytelling, the debate will kickstart. Thank you. You want my panel?
Okay. Good afternoon to us all once again. Unfortunately, I will be reading the best public speaker who will be showcasing a speech on the very first task. And that task is, you are in an elevator with the IGG, and she greets you, and after you respond, she asks you what you know about the fight against corruption. That is your task. And immediately I read the best public speaker out of a number of them that showcased their speeches for the first, second, and third round. Please make your way on stage. All right. So the very best public speaker, who for the third round won, was the most relevant speaker, but also understood the task. But secondly, even her speech was in line with the task that was asked in the first place. That is none other than, drum rolls. That person is a student in one of the schools in Uganda, a very beautiful school, a nice school. Give it up for Sam Rawit from Mengo Senior School. Yeah, it is a good school. Not saying others are not good. Eh? Yes, everyone is good in accordance to what they do. Sam Rawit, you'll have 4 minutes to deliver for us that wonderful speech.
All right. Good afternoon, all ladies and gentlemen. My name is Samarit Gerhiwat, and I'll be presenting to you a speech. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow, what a pleasure to meet you, Madam Inspector General of Government. My name is Samarit Gerhiwat, a young, passionate activist against corruption. So, to your question that states that what do I know about corruption in the aspect, in the fight against it? Well, what's the thing I know about corruption? I know corruption is about embezzlement of money, but not only that, it's all about the abuse and the mistrust and the dishonesty of government officials. Corruption has been an invisible monster. Not very many people actually go ahead with it. What is the problem in society? Many people think it's a way of life. I mean, if I just bribe a police officer and I'm running or rushing to the airport, I would just go with it. Why? Because I have bribed him. Or if I want to attend the best medical, or I want to attend to the best doctor, but I have a long line, what do? I double consultation fees. What about the others? That's corruption. In corruption, corruption's evils do not separate, nor old, nor young, nor evil, nor bad. It attacks each and everyone. But one thing I remember about Pope Francis, he once said that corruption is paid by the poor. From the community that I grew up, from the people that I engage myself with, I see that corruption has indeed swindled very many people's lives. Corruption has killed, corruption has lied, corruption has destroyed our country. Well, corruption is more of a thing that thrives in secrecy. It sows seeds of injustice and corrodes the pillar of our institutions. I know that very many people say that the key to success is education, but what kind of education is manifested whereby there are under-equipped facilities? That's corruption. With corruption, things never get into hand. Well, I remember in your speech, Madam IGG, you once said that NASA became a new institution, and indeed it is, because I have witnessed it. In NASA roads, whereby there is all fake documentations. If school failed you, then you had another route. If things didn't work out for you, then you got your documents. And with that, people are recruited in public services, and in that same thing, projects are put at stake. So dear IGG, to the fight against corruption, I understand it's not one man's fight, it's each and everyone. I understand that the citizens have raised their voices. I've understood that citizens have tried their best to show that corruption is enough and enough. So dear IGG, I want to clearly appreciate you for all the investigations, for all the campaigns and conferences that you do to engage the youth of Uganda in the fight. Well, one thing I want to urge the citizens to Uganda once I get a public platform. I want to tell them that corruption can actually end. We have to navigate that path. We have to navigate it ahead. Let the justice be our guide, integrity, our compass, and unity, our strength. And indeed, together, we can surely win it. Working and striving for a better corruption-free country, I know you will spearhead it, and we all shall do it together. For God and my country, thank you for nice meeting you too.
Thank you very much for the speech.
Thank you very much, Bruno. Please clap for the beautiful ladies. We are now going to go in for our very, very final debate. I want to invite the debaters to take their seats. Ntare School and Mengo School, please take your seats. And if you don't do that in 2 or 3 seconds, this all will go to the teams that are behind you.
here to do that? Madam CA. So, good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon, I'm speaking in about 5 keys. Please bear with me. I'm here to do a very small ceremony, but very important. I'm here to recognize our guests, so you can all get to know them and welcome them. Our guests, most of them seated on my right. Please allow me to recognize them. Please welcome with me Mr. Isaac Chigozi, who sits on the NDC board. We are also joined by Mr. Ronald Kasasa from ACU. We've also been joined by Mr. Kamundu Felix from the Office of the Auditor General. We also joined by SCP Mugweri Edward from the CID. And for your information, CID is a directorate in the Uganda Police. We have also been joined by Ms. Namukwaya Fatuma from ISO. ISO is the Internal Security Organization, young people. We also joined by Ms. Justin Kasoma from GIZ. Our end, we call it GIZ, the young people call it GIZ, so, but it's the same institution. We've also been joined by Mr. Aina Folk from GIZ. We'll be hearing a few remarks from him a little later. And those of you who are at NSDC in May, you remember, we've been joined by Mr. James Pingui. I hope I'm doing my best with the name. You're very welcome, Mr. Director, from the Inspectorate of Government. He's our very line director in the Inspectorate of Government. And our chief guest and host, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined, very honored to be joined by Brigadier General Henry Isoke, who is the head of the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. You're very welcome, all ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us as we listen to the very last round of today's debates. Enjoy.
this House supports the online demonization of perceived corruption. Thank you. Do we recall the resolution, Ntare? Do you recall the resolution that Mengo has read out? Now that the meeting is here, we also know that time we are going to use we're going to use 4.5 minutes for speeches and 1.5 minutes for cross-examination. No break time. The person that is going to be doing planning is going to be a beautiful lady, Cynthia Akili, and she's going to be giving you signals throughout the debate. Please make sure that you focus on her. And you have 1 minute to get this started.
My speech begins in 3, 2, 1. This House supports the online demonization of perceived corrupt government officials. So what is this online demonization and what is perceiving these corrupt government officials? Number one, demonization involves portraying such individuals in a negative light. Basically, this could look like online trolling. But something else we need to understand is what is perceiving. So before I go to what perceiving is, demonization also bases on whether there is a subjective opinion or being an accurate point of view. So, perception. Perception is basically based on belief, or rather a common narrative. But what should we understand in today's debate? This House supports the online demonization. Through this online trolling, what then are we looking at in current status quo? What are we looking at achieving in regards to these corrupt government officials that are perceived to be corrupt? The word perceive creates a situation whereby these people could be guilty or innocent. That is something we need to understand. So in my debate, I'm going to first show you how, at the end of the day, we cater for both areas, where this person is innocent or this person is guilty. So something I would like to I would like to put across is that this online demonstration number 1, what does it look like? At the end of the day, we find that this online demonization, is an initiation to proceedings. How? At the end of the day, this is going to ignite investigation. It does not just stop on online trolling. What do we realize? Once people come out in the public and use public handles like Twitter to call out such people through this online demonization, what do we realize? 1, this person is going to be taken to court for hearings, or rather, be given a verdict that either could show that they are innocent or guilty. Now, how do we cater for these situations? If they are innocent, then we have the redress system in place, in this case, which is the justice system. At the end of the day, these people can go back and seek justice if innocent. But what happens when they are guilty? They are, at the end of the day, brought to face sanctions for their actions since they have been proven guilty as corrupt government officials. But then what do we look at more in today's debate? We need to realize that at the end of the day, in a country like Uganda, public involvement is actually taking place. And at the end of the day, this is acting as a catalyst for accountability. How? Once again, I refer to the two worlds of perception, innocent or guilty. At the end of the day, if this person is innocent, they are going to be brought forth and they will, yes, account to having done their job well, back to the justice system. But then, if they are guilty, accountability at the end comes in, because this will show these people did not handle their responsibilities well, and at the end of the day, they will have to come and face the consequences of their mismanagement. But then what do we also need to understand? There is an avenue for redressing these cases through the justice system that is existent. That is why we believe that this online demonization, I emphasize, is again going to be an ignition to such proceedings to take place. Something I want to also put across is the deterrence mechanism that is going to come in. At the end of the day, what we realize is this online demonization is going to act as, yes, the public involvement, but then it's also going to show that at the end of the day, these people put in power are accountable to the people, and as such, are going to be careful once handling these positions they're entrusted with. At the end of the day, they would not want to put themselves in a situation where they're going to be publicly ridiculed through such proceedings of perception. That is why we believe at the end of the day, 1, we are going to achieve the investigations to actually bring the guilty people to justice, but 2, the public involvement is going to continuously take place through demanding for accountability. And lastly, the deterrence mechanism, which will at the end of the day cater for the problems that we face with corruption, but also seek to solve the problem in current status quo. I beg to submit.
How can you assure us of the anti-corruption of the government officials in this online organization?
I beg your pardon?
Thank you. Mic check? No. So.
So firstly, we get from a prop case that the sort of perception we have can be based on belief or a common narrative. Then secondly, they tell us that this online demonization is like an initiation, and then it is like a first step that then stirs up investigation and all. But then they go ahead and tell us that it is a deterrence mechanism. Now, Derek, my second speaker, thinks that that doesn't really serve as deterrent in any way, because these people don't expect to get caught in the first place. But then secondly, most don't really consider the consequences of, what they are doing in some instances, like, those who do it for passion, I guess. Then secondly, we think that that's like a faulty syllogism, like say, all American presidents are great speakers, and, I'm a great speaker too, so I'm the president of the United States. See, that just doesn't work like that. We think that just because some people fear getting caught doesn't really stop people from going ahead and, breaking rules and all. Secondly, we think that at some point, we'll need to look at how exactly the criminal justice system works. We think that when it is about fairness and justice, then all lives matter. What that means is that innocent or guilty, all of us deserve a fair trial. Now, firstly, we think it is very unfair to be innocent and then be, demonized that much. But then even for the guilty, we think that even at the worst case, this sort of intense scrutiny and public shaming is not the best for them. Mental health and all, we'll delve into that later. So firstly, when I tried to look at the worst case scenario for the guilty, we think that these are people who probably have been perceived of being corrupt, and it is true, maybe they've done corruption once or twice and got away with it, or investigations are still going on. But then we think that it is against the principles of criminal justice system, like fairness and justice, because at the end of the day, we are going to bypass a lot of, the traditional processes of how we get to do all this. That we have to do investigation. You see, what they feel is the best thing, like public involvement, we think there's a very big downside to it they don't consider. Something like the big likelihood of mob justice, that even when these people have, not been proven, there could be mob justice and people be like, oh my God, we are just fed up of this guy and just get over with it. But then again, we think it undermines the principle of innocent until proven guilty. What that means is that fair trial has to be done, whether you're guilty or not, before actually punishment is executed. But then again, if I delve into a substantive matter, we think that this demonizing perceived corrupt government officials is inherently unfair, and at the end of the day, it undermines all the principles of the criminal justice system, like I told you in my intro. But then again, we tell you that the mental health of these people is at stake. What that means is that, yes, these people could be guilty, but at the point where, the punishment they're supposed to serve, gets done, these people want to, rejoin society, and, that's going to be, very hard for them. Then at the point of fair trial, we think that this sort of online demonization creates an echo chamber where these people, we have to, one-sided narratives are then given much more traction. What that just means is that the other side doesn't really get a lot of ears of the public to get fed into their minds. What that just means is that you're denying these individuals the right to their fair trial and all. But then again, this echo chamber can make it very challenging for these nuanced perspectives and the counter arguments of these people who may be innocent. But then we are trying to look at the worst case where these people are very guilty and deserve all this. We think at the end of the day, these people will want to rejoin society. It's going to be very hard for them and very bad. We've never been prouder to oppose this debate. Thank you so much. Yes, very ready.
Do the criminal justice system readdress such situations in status quo, like allegations?
Come again.
The criminal justice system address situations like allegations in status quo.
Well, in cases where mob justice has happened, I guess they are too late already, don't you think?
Okay. Are there laws against mob justice in the current status quo?
They sure are, but it still happens.
Are there laws against it?
Clearly they are.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you think in a situation where we have people
we think the point where these people are being looked at as guilty when they may be innocent, it is just unfair for them in the first place. And the fact that there's chance that, the whole process could be skipped, we think investigation could also be skipped. I mean, why not?
Okay, this House supports the online demonization of perceived corrupt officials, of perceived corrupt government officials. So number one, side opposition talks about the idea of mob justice. Understand one thing here, that the motion entirely centers on online demonization. They do not show us whatsoever how the people are actually going to engage in mob justice online, in media, right? So that is entirely out. But number two, they come and talk about the principle of innocency until proven guilty. That principle is violated when a legal consequence occurs. So at the particular point in time where people are not legally being punished, therefore that principle is not violated. But firstly, they talk about the entire idea of demonization. What that looks like is public trolling. That is going to happen online on social media platforms, let's say Twitter, let's say WhatsApp, whatsoever. So why is that important when it comes to fighting against corruption? So they come and talk about the entire idea of mental health. They come and talk about the entire idea of how the criminal justice system works, and I'm going to show you why that is irrelevant. Number one, the idea of mental health. Why do we think still that is not underscoring the whole idea of actually holding these people accountable? When we actually have these people trolled and they are proven guilty in courts of law, the criminal justice system has a redress format or a redress kind of proceeding. So we think then these people's kinds of images are restored in the public. Why? Because once someone was guilty and then deemed innocent again, we think then that is enough to actually compel them to forget the past. But what they entirely tell us that what is going to happen, these people are actually going to have issues. But the concern here, the image is not tampered with. Why? Because they have redress mechanism with the public, with the criminal justice system. Number two, they come and tell us that this entire idea does not actually bring about deterrency. We are going to show you how that comes about. Number one, when you actually troll these people, it is going to incite investigation. Why? Because we think government has a belief there is no smoke without fire, which is true, which is going to force these people to actually define or determine whether these people are innocent or guilty. When that happens, once these people are found guilty, legal sanctions are going to be taken. If they deserve a punishment of, let's say, 10 years imprisonment, as stipulated by the law, then they are going to get that. If these people are found innocent, then they are going to be taken back into the society. We actually have programs like guidance and counseling to actually cater for these particular people who have mental issues. So we think then we address the concern of mental health, number one, but secondly, we show you that with legal consequences, that acts as a deterrent mechanism, because people in public office will not want to abuse office in order to be sanctioned as their fellows are being sanctioned. Why is that so? People are going to demonize these people. Government is going to be pushed to carry out investigation and discover whether these people are innocent or guilty. On that basis, legal sanctions occur for the guilty, which then acts as a deterrent, because why? People would not want to be punished, therefore they fear to do that. But number two, we come and talk about the entire idea of public involvement. We think public involvement is crucial. Why? Because corruption happens maybe in public offices, but has impacts and affects the general population. Understand that government for far too long has been actually shielding, let's say, maybe these particular criminals whatsoever. But once you have people coming out to speak, that is what we call expose the corrupt. This kind of demonization is going to act as a mechanism that is actually going to help government discover people who are corrupt. Once you're found innocent, there is nothing like a sanction that is going to be put onto you. But once this person is found guilty, we think then this particular person is going to be punished. Then that kind of public involvement is important. Why? Because we think it is then going to increase the kind of magnitude of fighting corruption, because we have a larger scope of people engaged, therefore it is going to be easier to expose people who are corrupt. And number two, it is actually going to force these people to behave rightly, because they would not want to be subjects of mental health they are talking about if it exists, but again, they would not want to be subjects of trolling. So we think it is actually a mechanism of deterrence, but secondly, public engagement. But again, aside proposition, we tell you that this is going to initiate investigations or proceedings. Why? Because we think once the public speaks, once the public holds someone accountable of something, or they call out a particular person by maybe abusive words whatsoever, we think then government is going to be incentivized to take on actions. So we think that is important, because it is going to help create a spirit of accountability and transparency in public offices. I submit.
All right, as a politician, would you find it fair to get beaten and then, redress happens later?
If I don't find it fair to actually embezzle funds, if I find it fair to embezzle funds, then I should find it fair to get beaten.
Wow. All right, so do you think that the innocent also, okay, people who may be innocent, please let me complete the question. All right. Do you find it fair for online demonization to happen with the guys who are just innocent anyways?
Pardon?
Do you find it fair that online demonization happens for those guys who are innocent?
We believe there is a criminal justice system to offer support to people who are innocent and being demonized. So we cater for those people either way.
You mean counseling sessions while demonization is happening?
If those people actually they will not show us how maybe they believe this demonization is not going to work in that case. But we tell you what is important here. Once we allow people to engage, it is going to help
all right.
us.
Let's just say.
Investigation, but secondly,
all right.
address the issues or the impacts that
Thank you. So let's just say it incites investigation. Isn't there a likelihood that it can incite violence, like mob justice?
No, violence is not incited because there are laws actually against mob justice.
All right, I'll get started. Now, to begin with, we as the negative bench, we don't rule out the involvement of the public into the criminal justice system or in the assistance towards the fight against corruption. But what we are against is the public getting involved in the manner of call-out culture, and more so on the people who have been perceived. What we get from the first affirmative speaker, she clarifies this better, that a person might be guilty or innocent. That's why we are creating emphasis that why should you carry out all this call-out culture, or why should you do all these intentions on the person you are not sure of whether he or she is innocent or guilty. Now, when you look at what happens online, or the call-out culture, how it happens, it is not carried out by technocrats. That's why online, they are going to be doing things that are only rightful, that can not cause physical damage or mental illness to these people. These are random people in the cities or villages that choose to speak whatever they feel like without minding on what's going to happen on the person they are talking about. So these words can be too dangerous to a person that these people can even run mad or even suffer trauma. But they don't look at that. Though they make allegations and say, we are going to cater for these people in the aftermath. Let us look at the status quo. Where has this happened? Our first speaker asks them if they are providing counseling sessions to these people in the aftermath, but they don't provide how clearly that goes on in their plan. They talk about deterrence. They say people are going to fear just because they're going to be called out. But now we tell them, no one gets involved in these corruption cases well knowing that they're going to be caught. For anyone to get into a scandal of corruption, they think they're going to embezzle funds, but no one will get knowledge about them. But all of a sudden, they are caught into the act. So this will not act as a deterrence because people continue getting involved in corruption scandals because they know there is no one that is going to know about them. So there is no way that one can act as a deterrent. They talk about that mob justice is not involved in this case, but they don't look at the aftermath. After these people have been convicted and they go back to after they have been convicted, they have served their terms, maybe in prison somewhere, after they have gone back to the society, they don't know what is going to happen in the society because these people don't know how to live with these people or handle them all of a sudden. So the likelihood of mob justice cannot be left out in this case because people have been exposed to people who have no ways of handling them. Secondly, I also want to talk about the criminal justice system. When you hear their plan, in the long run, after they have called out the cancel culture, they end up into the criminal justice system to carry out the judgment and convince these people of carrying out corruption. So my question is, instead of carrying out call-out culture of the people whom we are not sure of whether they are guilty or innocent, why don't you follow the criminal justice system, carry out investigations, and then carry out the rightful procedures, and then judge these people in the rightful manners, and then take them into prison or somewhere, but following the criminal justice system, other than meandering in the call-out culture of which you are not sure of these people, whether they have carried out corruption or not. Then there is also the politicians. These people have been criticized all the time. They're used to this. So you are not sure of that if a person is criticized online or what, these people cannot be affected by being criticized because they're used to this. So you are instead not providing any solution, but these people can easily thrive with this because they're used to being criticized, they're used to being abused, they're used to being neglected in the society. So they can easily thrive under these conditions. So you're not providing any solution. Then we also want them to talk about, to clarify more about mental health, the mental health of these people. Because these people can suffer trauma, these people can get various challenges of which can become too expensive for them to collect, of which more so these people can even be innocent of which of the offenses they have not committed. Because these people who come online, they are not sure of whether this one is guilty or innocent. They just come to spill anything that comes into their brain, which might be too dangerous to these people that are being abused or being called out online. So they don't provide how they're going to collect their mental illness, people are going to suffer traumas, people who need rehabilitation, or how they are going to solve that. They don't clearly show that. Then this is one-sided. They don't listen to the other party. They only look at the guilty part of it, but then they don't look at the people who are innocent. So they listen, it is one-sided, and we are looking at inclusivity so that people can all have fair judgment. I beg to submit. Pardon?
The witnesses in court give testimony based on perception.
No.
Okay. So does the criminal justice system redress the cases once proven innocent?
You can justify on that.
Okay. So does perception emerge on its own or it has an origin?
But that does not prove whether one is innocent or guilty. It is just a perception. You cannot prove whether one is innocent or guilty. Pardon?
Is it bad to offer a solution to a problem?
Depending on how you're providing the solution.
So is it bad to address the impact of demonization on an innocent person?
I beg your pardon?
Is it bad then to address the impact of demonization on an innocent person? Okay, what is it? Does demonization...
I beg to answer you. I beg to answer you.
Does online demonization yield
To a smaller extent.
Okay, so when someone wrongs you and they get punished, do you get satisfaction?
Pardon?
When someone wrongs you and you get punishment, do you get satisfaction?
Of course you do. Yeah.
Thank you, panel.
Now, opposition would create a better case if at all they were working in a world where, one, there is no redress to allegations. If we were in a world where any allegation is taken, maybe any allegation is taken as the final say, then opposition case would maybe have a rank. But in a world like Uganda, in a country like Uganda, where allegations are actually taken to courts of law, one, for assurance and accuracy, then there is redress to innocency or guilty. If you're guilty, you're punished. If you're innocent, there are mechanisms. There are mechanisms of compensation. There are mechanisms of maybe guidance and counseling for their mental illness. Then their case would work, but this is another one. We asked them 3 questions in the previous cross-examination. We asked them, do witnesses in courts of law give testimonies according to perception? They say, they give us a response, but one thing I want to analyze in this debate is, you see, even in courts of law, testimonies are according to perception, but they are valid when they are proven to be true by maybe investigations. So understand how we cannot just come and cite out someone that you're guilty. But what do we understand is that there are always investigations. What proposition brings on board is it is a mechanism of, one, calling for maybe attention from government to carry out these investigations and calling the government's attention in this case. What then do we get from the OP case what we get from the OP case has actually 2 major reasons why they do not want this online demonetization. 1, they cater so much for the innocent, and 2, they cater so much for the guilty if at all there is that mental problem. 3, they look at the mob justice that may arise from public. Those are their only problems. Now, just to readdress them. 1, understand that we are working in a world where there is redress to problems, and that goes to their point of innocency. Where someone is innocent, there will be a redress, and where someone is guilty, there will be punishment. Understand that in our world, our world looks at people get satisfied when one is punished. And if one is punished and they come back to society, they are going to be looked at as people who have been punished and have served their sentences. In such situations, we will not have mob justice because they have already succumbed to what their punishments were. But even in a best world, maybe their worst world case, where we are having people and mob justice is there, understand how there are laws against mob justice. Police is going to cut these people down, and they're going to also serve their punishment. So mob justice is a debate of another day. This debate was looking at, 1, online demoralization. Do we perceive it? Should online demoralization of perceived corrupt officials take place? And this is only going to be verified, 1, if it provides benefit in today's debate. We asked them in our previous course examination that, 1, do you find any benefit when we come to online demoralization? They said to a smaller extent. Then that is very good. When they said to a smaller extent they find benefit with this thing, that means it's worth taking on. Why is it worth taking on? Because understand 3 criteria from the proposition side. They look at this as a mechanism that, 1, is going to look for attention from the government to readdress these issues from the public for as long as maybe this online demoralization comes on. First, not to forget, they come and tell us that, 1, people are already used to criticism. That is a lie and a fallacy. Why? Because no one is going to get used to being abused on social media. Understand the kind of people being reported are people who want the public to reappoint them, to revote for them in the next elections. Will these people really get used to being abused by the public if they want votes in their next elections? That is a fallacy from their side. And going to the probe case, understand how this is going to yield benefit in our status. Why? Because, 1, when we look at these people citing out spaces where investigations need to take place, that is a benefit on our side. Because why? Our side looks at, 1, getting these investigations being done, and how are we going to involve this public? Understand how this corruption takes place everywhere, and how everywhere in the country. And how do we bring on the public to then also participate in this fight? Is when this public comes on to cite out this online demonization to these people. And in such a case, even at the worst case, where these people are being hurt, yes, they are being hurt for what they did. And if at all they did not do that, there is a redress. Understand how, 1, we call for accountability and transparency. If at all we seek mechanisms that will call for investigation, then justice. I beg to rest.
Thank you very much. Okay. In the world of the farmers only, I clearly cannot stand to be a politician because, 1, When I become successful and I become rich, I know that the people are going to have perceptions that maybe I'm a corrupt official and my kids are the ones going to go to the court so that they suffer, they play for the redressing that they claim. Now, one thing that we need to understand is that what their farmers are seeking is not what we are seeking. Their farmers are seeking for satisfaction, yet we are seeking for justice. One thing that we need to understand is that demonization is bad. We team negators believe in the traditional course in the criminal justice system. They are the same people who are trying to claim for justice-ish, but then they are also the same people who are going to make the innocent people, the innocent officials, pay the price. What has transpired in tonight's resolution is, from their farmers, is that they are playing around in the mistake of the criminal justice system, while we are saying that we should avoid demonization because of its bad repercussions that we don't want to face. They claim and they front accountability, of which they fail to justify and give us statistics, and they fail to assure us of how this demonization is going to work. They claim that it is going to be it's going to make the politicians accountable, as it is going to act as a deterrent. But then clearly you see that it is not going to work. It is going against the laws of the CGS, yet they are team government. Then clearly you see that that is a contradiction in their case. They claim that this is going to be an initiation of investigation, but as you see, they are jumping steps. In the criminal justice system, it is supposed to be investigations first, and then perceptions come in. Investigations, then demonization come in, sorry. But for them, they want demonization first and then investigations. Is that really the right way in which the criminal justice system in Uganda should work? No. Now, in our case, starting from Honorable Barak and Honorable Derrick, we have clearly stated it that we are looking at the perceptions. The grounds of these perceptions are baseless. They are unjust. They may even be unfair. We want to know that these accusations may be politically motivated. They may be boosted so that they may tarnish the reputations of these politicians. And should we really subscribe to something like that, where the innocent people are going to have difficulty in going back to the societies? They claim that there is redress, but I want to ask any of us in this hall, have we seen redress anywhere in Uganda whereby your reputation has already been tarnished, and then because you are from a court and you have been proven innocent, that there is going to be redress? Clearly, what they are saying is just a fallacy, and they do not know even what they are going to say. They do not know what they are saying. In their world, they are in support of the cancel culture. This cancel culture leads to swift and severe consequences, which they fail to defend. And should the citizens of Uganda really face these problems, that is something that we need to understand. Then team affirmatives have failed to make us understand why we need to believe in perceptions, why we need to why we need to front demonization based on the perceptions. With that, allow me to rest my case. My name is Namra Albert. I'm the third negator. I've never been prouder. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, speakers. The audience can really give a thunderous round of applause. Thank you very much for giving us the final, worthy of the conference final. The conversations were truly elegant, and I want to thank you for taking the time to make our timeline be here. So I'm going to take the letters out for the declaration. In the meantime,
Let's clap for them. As the judges are exiting, please let's have prayers for them because this was worth to watch. Other than that, we are going for the next items, and we're going to have speeches. And we're going to have the first speech from none other than the ED, National Debate Council, Mr. Gasta Kakaire. Please let's clap for him as he takes on the stage.
Good evening once again. Mine is not really a speech. I just want us to start off by applauding everybody that has taken the podium today and articulated issues of anti-corruption. Let's give them a big, big round of applause. I want to take this opportunity once again to welcome all of you who came from your various schools. Some of you came from home. Thank you for making it, and thank you for being passionate about issues of anti-corruption and knowing that they affect you a great deal, but also that you have a great responsibility as young people to address these issues. I want to start off by thanking everybody that has made this tournament a possibility. This is the Debate Champions League, and it's a very exciting experience because you get to hear some of the most articulate young people in this country, and it's very, very exciting. So I want to thank the teachers. I know everybody's on holiday, but I want to thank the teachers who have made off time to coordinate their students and make sure they participate in the online rounds and also come down here for the finals. Please recognize your teachers with a big hand clap. We are talking strengthening partnerships, so we recognize all the partnerships. And when we talk of partnerships, we definitely know that schools are part of this partnership. But we also want to recognize all these agencies you see here on this banner, all the anti-corruption agencies and other players in this field that do all the work, that put efforts together to ensure that we have a cleaner country. And of course, would like to thank and recognize our hosts and sponsors of the Champions League, the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. Thank you very much, General and your team, for giving us as young people this rare opportunity to come and get a feel of how it is and feels like to be a national leader, and how people see it and talk about things that make a difference, that change the kind of things we see in this country. It's a great inspiration, I know, if I gave opportunity to every young person here to share with us how it feels and what kind of vision it gives them. I know that it is greatly inspiring to know that in a couple of years, it could actually be your permanent seat, but this time coming with a renewed mind and thinking about a better Uganda. So for me, that is very, very satisfying. I want to recognize some young people that I know have been on this floor for the last time, and they are not going to debate again in high school. So if you're here and debated and you're in senior 6 vacation, you just completed your senior 6, I want you to stand up so we can recognize you. I see a couple of you. So please stand up. Aha. God, give them a big hand clap, these guys. I know that for some of you, I have seen you debate right from senior 1, so it's great to see you grow. I saw you debating in your shorts. You're now wearing longer things. It's good to see you grow. You're now in senior 6 vacation. You're out of high school, and you know how we do it. We do not stop here. We keep the fire. You go to university and continue to articulate these things. But most importantly, you walk that talk. Okay? So best of luck, and see you at some forums later. The other people I wanted to recognize have stepped out, so I'll probably do that later. Now, we are very excited about how this all is turning out. You know, last year we were here for the first time, and we're here again. And we are excited to see this program continue to grow and continue to involve other young people, more young people. We are emphasizing issues of prevention. We know that prevention is probably the more lasting solution to corruption. We want you to grow up with a new mindset. And this I have been saying over and over again. That when we give you this information and allow you to talk about it, we are not just talking about these things. We want you to renew your minds and do what you can within your means to prevent corruption. I know that for some of us, we think that corruption is an issue of the older people, people in public offices. But we have a responsibility, and there are ways in which we get corrupt ourselves. But even as we grow, and we are seeing people who are now in senior six vacation, in a couple of years, I was talking to one of the young people, and he told me he's now a practicing engineer. I know that in 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to be occupying public offices. How are you going to execute those duties? How are you going to live? What difference are you going to make? Are you going to be a light to the rest of the people around you? That is what we are trying to impart in you. But secondly, we also want you to propose interventions. We want you to be creative. I've been thinking about a platform where we can allow you to pitch anti-corruption ideas. And that's to actually start to fund you with some little money to be able to implement those ideas. We want you to think. You're young people, you're very smart, and I know that you can come up with many solutions to many of the problems we are facing. So as we try to prevent, I want to challenge you further to try and find solutions to these problems. Okay. Now, I would like to invite one of our speakers that I asked particularly to come and talk about the role of partnerships, especially those with the development world, and how, in his opinion, these can be harnessed to promote anti-corruption. Please welcome with me Mr. Aina Folk, the head of component GIZ, to come and speak to us.
Yes, good afternoon. Good, I can't hear you. Good afternoon. I know it's a bit late. Thank you very much, Gasta, for inviting me to come and talk to you today and on this important topic, strengthening partnerships in the war against corruption. Now, in the spirit of debate, I think I'll be on the team affirmative for this one, and I hope there won't be anybody to opposite me afterwards. I really want to thank NDC for organizing this, for bringing you all together. Thanking to you for participating and debating. I know you're all a part of the Champions League. Also a very big thank to State House Anti-Corruption Unit for engaging with NDC in this partnership, now the second year in a row, and all the support you're also providing here. Also, it's good to see colleagues from all the anti-corruption agencies, the teachers, and everybody here. I think also what we're seeing here is actually a real sign of partnerships for fighting corruption. We have NDC engaging with State House Anti-Corruption Unit, and US schools and the students participating in the competition. We have anti-corruption agencies here. There's a lot of elements of partnerships that are very, very important in this fight. A little bit about myself first and the program I'm here for. My name is Aina Fogh, as Gasta mentioned. I work with GIZ in a governance and civil society program. I've been in Uganda now for 6 years, so now when I go home to Denmark for holiday, I say I go to the village. So I know how it is here. My work is very much both with the state and non-state actors. My team and I sit just a bit down the road in the Office of the Auditor General and work a lot on bringing partnerships between the state actors. We're supporting collaboration between the Office of the Auditor General, the Inspector of Government, and the Procurement Authority, but also other anti-corruption agencies. But also have a strong focus on raising awareness in our program, empowering people to demand for corruption. And we have a very strong focus over the last couple of years working with NDC to engage the young people in this fight. And over the last couple of years, our focus also much more on social accountability. How do we bring the state actors together with the non-state actors to work against this? Why is it that this topic is important? Corruption has really a negative impact, as you know, and as you see, on aspects of life, pretty much every aspect of life that you see, not just in Uganda, but everywhere in the world. We did a study on cost of corruption with IG that showed that we estimate about 9.1 trillion Uganda shillings is lost to corruption every year. That's about half of the revenue that is collected through taxes. And if you think about how much you could actually get for that, is quite amazing. But there were also many times we couldn't even put a number on what potentially is lost to corruption. So the figures could be much higher. And if you all start thinking a lot of other elements into it. But I come from Denmark, which is one of the countries I'm proud to say that is one of the lowest, number one in the least corrupt countries in the world. It doesn't mean there is no corruption, but just means there is very little of it. So what also motivates me is to see what all the positive things that can come out of being in a country where there's not a lot of corruption. So in my entire life, I've never had to experience the police officer asking for a bribe. I've never experienced going to a hospital, have to pay a bribe to receive services. You go into a public office, you get the services that you're entitled to, and that's just not for me, it's for all my family and friends. I don't know anybody who has ever been asked to pay a bribe in Denmark. If you could live up with something like that, I'd be very happy. And I think that's what you should aim for. It's a society where you get the services that you're entitled to, that you through your taxes are entitled to. So there's a lot, not just looking at the losses, but actually what you can gain by fighting corruption. Should be big motivating. And to get there, partnerships are very important. Nobody can fight the vice of corruption alone. Not one agency. I mean, we have Inspector of Government with a very strong mandate, very broad mandate, but they alone cannot do it. Even if they had 10 times more employees, they could not do it. They have to also partner with others. The same goes for you. If you want to do this, you also have to partner. And what do we mean then by partnerships? There's multi-sector collaboration. So we have state agents, we have a number of anti-corruption agencies in Uganda that has to do this. They have to partner to make it more effective. We have a big civil society also engaged in these topics. They also have to work together. We have development partners coming in who also wants to support. There's a lot of international cooperation on these topics. But there's all the whole general thing. And every these actors in this space have something to offer. And I think what you need to focus on and think about when we talk about partnership is what is that our shared goals and strategies are. And I think that objective of eliminating corruption for better services is key in it. And there, I think there's a lot of elements in what we do where we can join those dots and say we have these shared objectives. And that's where you can then partner on. And then figuring out what is it that each of us can bring to the table that can enhance this partnership. So a good example is about 4 or 5 years ago, in our partnerships with the Inspector of Government, the Office of the Auditor General, Procurement Authority, wanted to also be able to work better with young people when it comes to corruption. But they didn't necessarily have the best avenues to do that. But then National Debate Council comes in, have access to 500 schools. They've been working with many of you. That partnership together can really make it work because NDC didn't have access to all the information about anti-corruption, wouldn't be able, but by getting together, 1 + 1 actually come to make 3, right? This is not mathematically correct, but when it comes to partnerships, 1 + 1 can make 3 or even more. And so this is something that I think is a very strong example of it. And by also pooling these resources, you also achieve more. So what kind of partnerships are we looking at? I think one thing I mentioned is we have been supporting this partnerships between the Office of the Auditor General, the Inspector of Government, the Procurement Authority. They have mandate that not overlap each other but can support each other. They have different things they can do, different expertise. When they go together in one case, they can really bring a strong case together. But what is also is these partnerships that we have between state and non-state actors. And I mentioned one here with the National Debate Council. But since I'm here now, I also think it's important to talk about what the role of youth is. I don't think that was me. But we're also really important to bring the young people into these partnerships, which I think NDC has really been a good avenue to do, but also seeing your passion is important. As you know, and as you're aware, the young people make up the majority of Uganda. I think, yeah. Yeah, I have no explanation for that. Young people make up the majority of this country, but I think often you're not probably included in the decision-making process. You're not probably included in the direction of the country. We have also not included you properly in the fight against corruption. But we do need young people because you are the future of this country and you need to be more involved in these things and also be involved in the fight against corruption. Not just because Good. See, if I had a timer, I would definitely ask that to be reset. Good. But young people, you're also very important. Good. Young people are also important because you bring new ideas. Like Gasta just said, you have innovation, you have new ideas, you come with a new perspective, which is important to bring in to consideration. But you're also tech savvy. Many of you are very good with working mobile. You've been born and raised with social media. These things can be used. But what I think is equally important, and when you're engaged in this and you become a part of these partnerships, is education. Be educated about these topics and aware. Good. What I've seen over the years, and that's something I mentioned also before, is like the first time we engaged with you on these topics of corruption back in 2019, you were very good at debating. Do we know what the problem is so we could fix it? Good. Maybe somebody's hacking the system. So, yeah, when we started engaging with you about 4 years ago, we could see that you know how to debate. You know how to debate, but the topic of corruption was not really well addressed. Some very interesting arguments was coming up. But what we can see today, and I could really see it in the last debate with some of the students, I've seen you before as well debating these topics.
for you to engage on these very important topics. We are excited once again to tell you that the third edition of the National Students and Corruption Challenge, which is a virtual challenge, it should be coming up later this month. So please follow our social media platforms. We shall be looking for 480 young people from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions to engage in various genres like song, like poetry, like news anchoring, like skitting, and so many other exciting genres that I'm sure you would love to be part. So look out for that. Now, I would like to invite Director James Pengwi, who is going to come and invite for us our chief guest, Brigadier General Henry Soke, who is also our host, to give us some remarks. Director James Pengwi from the Inspectorate of Government. Please welcome him with a hand clap.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I think it is really a long time since you have been here. I'm not going to really waste most of your time. My name is James Pengwi, and as I've been introduced, I'm a director with Inspectorate of Government. And my task here is to invite the head of anti-corruption unit, none other than Brigadier General Isoke. But before he comes, I want to say my boss, the Inspector General of Government, should have been here even after 11 a.m. this morning. But unfortunately for other important, equally very important and urgent matter, she decided to send me here. Otherwise, she recognized all of your contributions for this because unless we all work as partners, unless we all become warriors to fight corruption, it is not going to be possible. Partnership is the way to go. By the way, do you know even God had partners? How many Christians are here? Christians. There's God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. They are partners. If God cannot sort out the problem alone, how can we human beings do so? We must work as partners. We are actually the losers. My boss this morning when she was making a statement, a joint statement of all the anti-corruption agencies, which is here, said that we in Uganda, we are a total of about 48 million, call it 50 million Ugandans. But the bad guys are actually about small percentage because the total number of people working in government is only nearly 500,000. And about 10% of those people are the one making all of us, the rest of us, to suffer. It's about 10,000. How can over 400,000 suffer at the expense of 10,000 Ugandans? How can we accept to be defeated? The ratio is too big. It is me and you to say no, and we must work towards it, and this corruption will be ended as fast as possible. I not talk about their country. I happened to go to Denmark, and I always tell this story that we went to a bar And the beers were there, the other things were there, the basket where you put the money was there, and people were picking money from their pocket, go and place it in a basket, get your change, and get what you want, 1 bottle of beer. And nobody was cheating because there was no seller. If it happens in Uganda, what do you expect? The beer will be finished and the money will not be there and people will even fight. Other people are developed because they have learned to be trusted. They have learned to be trusted. And they watch. Everybody there is a policeman. Everybody there is an investigator. You start doing something wrong, they will report you. It doesn't matter whether it is your brother, it doesn't matter whether you're a sister, it doesn't matter whether you're a father. In Singapore, when a minister receives some gratification and the matter went on media, he went back home because everybody knew he had received bribe. The family sent that man away, that daddy, from today onward, you have a shame mask, don't come home. And that was it. The man went and hanged himself. Today, if you go to Singapore, it's one country where you sit in a car and you tell the car, I want to go to Jinja. There's no driver. The car will drive you to Jinja because there is order on the road. You try here. I don't think you'll move 100 meters. Even when you are there on the steering, you still get accident. It is high time you people who are young take up this. It's not that we are surrendering. We are not surrendering. We don't like it. And we are fighting. We will continue fighting. But you also must take up this and make sure that you fight for this country. I think as Inspector of Government, we are ready to give you help. We have a program which I think next year we shall be rolling to so many other schools, which is called Integrity Club, where we engage schools to form up this club and basically to promote integrity within the young students. Please get interested in all this, and we will be ready to actually come to your school and set it up. It is free, and it is, you are all encouraged. With this short, may I take this opportunity to invite Brigadier General to come and actually give his address, because he's actually the lead partner in the National Council of Debate, and we want to thank the people who organize it, you, the student, the teachers who participate, and everybody, including the media. Brigadier, you're most welcome. Not forgetting our donors, the GIZ and all other people. They actually, government doesn't have this money. If they were not there giving us money, we would not be this far. General, you're welcome. We wouldn't be this far. So we really, I had people debating partnership. Partnership is very, very necessary, and it's important. General, you're welcome. So when you go back, travel well, and Merry Christmas. We may not see you again.
The representative of the IGG who has just handed over the microphone.
the representative of the Director General of Internal Security Organization, Ajat Fatima, the representative of the CID, the Director CID, the representative of the Anti-Corruption Coalition Uganda, the representative of GIZ, Mr. Aina Fogg, who has just made a very powerful brief, and who is the head of component at GIZ. The representative of the Auditor General, the teachers who have been coaching and mentoring our very valuable students, our students, the participants, the board member of the NDC, my friend Isaac, my co-host, the executive director of the National Debate Council, and your team. I've just been chatting with one of your very strong pillars at NDC, members of the media, my colleagues at Shaku, and everybody in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would wish to thank the Executive Director of the National Debate Council, Mr. Gasta Kakaire, for a job extremely well done, and he deserves, I think, a hand clap. He has passionately, with his team and consistently, organized this very important event annually. It's a very noble cause. As we have been told, corruption cannot be fought single-handedly. We work in a partnership. And it is a constitutional obligation of everybody. And the Constitution provides, our Constitution provides that it is the obligation of every citizen to combat corruption. But to do that, the vanguard institutions must do their part also to prepare everybody to play his part. And it is in this respect that the National Debate Council, in partnership with the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, working together with all the agencies that you have seen here, have always found it very important that they involve you, the youth, the students of this country, to participate in the war against corruption. Participation comes with different contributions, including ideas. The time I sat here and listened to the level of debate and the ideas that were being generated relating to the subject of corruption, which is a big cancer in this country, I felt very proud of you people. Thank you very much. I am honored to meet you. I missed meeting you last year for those who were here and have come back because I had some other engagements. So today I'm honored that I have met and listened to you. As I said, our partnership with the National Debate Council in organizing this platform is a testimony to our shared commitment to fostering a generation of informed, empowered, and socially responsible future leaders. I would like to express my sincere gratitude again to the NDC and all the agencies that we work with in working relentlessly to have this tournament that you all participated in happen. In a special way, I would also wish to thank the Comptroller of the State House, who has continued to provide the necessary logistics that enable this interaction to take place. I also want to thank the leaders of the participating schools, including Kira College, Butiki, King's College, Budo, Ntare School, Mbarara High School, Mengo Senior Secondary, Mengo Senior School, I beg your pardon. This school is very unique. I don't know how you people who are not from Mengo, do you know how old that school is? Who is from Mbale? Mbale, it is Mbale High School? Mbale, how old is Mengo Senior Secondary? Okay, anybody from, okay, there is Nyakasura School. Who is from Nyakasura? When questions come, people disappear. Okay. Mengo, who is from Mengo? You tell them. Mengo Senior School. Mengo Senior, the people who performed very well. Tell us, how old is your school? Did you know? 127 years. I don't know whether that's the right arithmetic, but I remember it was like, it started in 1895. So you people, you are privileged to interact with the people from the oldest senior school, 1895. Sacred Heart Senior Secondary School, St. Mary's College Kisubi, Nyakasura School, and all the guest schools which have participated. We salute your leaders who have nurtured and prepared you to be able to perform such exceptional standards. Dear students, as youth of Uganda, you will play a pivotal role in the fight against corruption. The Constitution of Uganda under Article 17(1) emphasizes the duty of every citizen to fight corruption and misuse of public property. With 78% of Uganda's population being youth, your involvement in the fight is crucial. You are our country's future leaders and decision makers. You must embrace the responsibility of being anti-corruption ambassadors. In December 2022, His Excellency the President urged the over 10,000 youths that had gathered at Kololo grounds for a youth symposium to fight corruption wherever they are. Because the government sends development money to the community like the Youth Livelihood Program, Emyoga, Parish Model, among others. Corruption is a formidable enemy, but the war against it is winnable. The future belongs to you, and it is crucial that you become vigilant custodians of integrity. Your actions today will echo in the corridors of power tomorrow. As we say at the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, and as echoed by one of you who gave us a poem, we say, see something, say what? Say something. For it is in your collective strength that corruption can be eradicated. To the winners of the Uganda Speech and Debate Champions League 2023, I'm sure we are about to be given the final results. In advance, I say congratulations. Your eloquence and intellectual prowess have earned you this honor and positioned you as exemplary leaders in the making. May your success inspire others to strive for excellence. To those who do not secure victory today, remember that defeat is not the end, but a stepping stone to future victory. There is one philosopher or thinker who said, and this was called Jaime Escalante, he said that life is not about how many times you fall down, It is about how many times you get up when you fall down. The State House Anti-Corruption Unit will continue working with the other agencies, particularly the National Debate Council, to ensure that this initiative continues. The fight against corruption is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process, and your engagement in platforms like this tournament is instrumental in building a culture of transparency, accountability, and integrity. In conclusion, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone present today, our distinguished guests, valued partners, particularly GIZ, parents, and most importantly, the passionate participants who embody the spirit of accountability. Your commitment to this cause is truly inspiring. Thank you so much, and I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year 2024, full of blessings. Thank you very much. And I wish you safe travel back home.
Let's give General a big round of applause. Thank you very much, sir, for your very courteous words and great words of inspiration and motivation to all the young people in this hall. We have come to the close of the event, and you know usually how we walk away. We have a couple of awards ready. We have a few other awards that are meant to be customized, because now we are into a habit of inscribing your names on medals and the other things. But because the event runs up to this time, and it's only the last minute that you know who the winner's name is, there is no way you can have that name inscribed at that point. We still don't have the technology that can do it that quick. So for the medals of people who have made it to the best semi-final team, which ideally would get a bronze medal, the team that makes it to the finals but doesn't really win gets a silver medal, and the winner gets a gold medal. Those medals, once done, I think the best would be to get in touch with you when school starts. But for those of you who can actually get in touch with us during this holiday, you can as well, and you're around Kampala, you can as well pick them from our offices. So for those, you'll take Cohen's number so you can be in touch. But we'll definitely read your name so you know who you are. So for now, we're going to give away the certificates, the boards and the other paper certificates of schools that didn't break. Again, for schools that broke to the semi-finals, the boards, the same arrangement will happen. And for those that have been among the top 10 speakers of both categories, your awards are also ready. I'll be inviting our guests to assist us award the different categories. But for now, I need two young people who feel strong enough to come and help me drag this thing to the side so we have enough space for the awards. Okay, so I'm told we have an interlude as the awards get set. I'm told there's a poem that was supposed to be done last, so please come and do that poem now. Then we can drag the podium on the side.
Thank you very much, Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, join me and I invite the best poet today, who is none other than Hammond, with an average of 77 scores. Please come and do your poem in only 4 minutes, then thereafter we shall be ready with the awards. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates in your different capacities, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all. My name is Herman Asmaram from Mengo Senior School. Shout out to Team Mengo. So I'll be starting my poem. My poem is titled, You Imagine It, I See It. Why are you staring? Why are you looking at me? Is it maybe because probably I'm more light-skinned than you, or maybe because I have 4 eyes and some of you have 2 eyes? Or is it because maybe I have sticky notes all over my body? But you really do not know what they mean. These are the patches of what corruption has done to me. A young girl who had a bright future, a smile that was so adorable. But now because of corruption, I live under this. But where is the 4-lettered word love? L-O-V-E. What happened to it? I cried in agony as I talked to people from the anti-corruption agencies. Ask them what life really meant. Did it really mean some officials living their luxurious lives as others were deeply crying? Did it really mean some people driving Porsche cars, sleeping in mansions that we all saw on YouTube? Did it really mean some people having big bellies or even less hair as they fill their pockets that do not really seem to be getting full, and even they do not stop there? They continue to say, I do not know how the iron sheets ended up in my compound. The common saying that everyone said, what a shame. But where is the love? Yet us, the commoners, they say, I have to go under this. I am one citizen of Uganda who usually prays the humble prayer. Will I make it as I go through the roads that have potholes, walking to school barefoot, even with the roads that have potholes? And me who did not tie the knot, saying, yes, I do, to corruption, because I do not benefit from it. Now I am suffering, now I'm crying with the poor quality education learning under a mango tree, or even in classrooms that do not necessarily look like classrooms. Honestly, where did the 45 million that was supposed to go to the education sector go? Honestly, I really do not know. I cried in agony as I said these words to these officials, because I knew this could touch them. This is the common saying that everyone says, because this is the Uganda that we literally live in. It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not how much you studied, but how much you can pay. Gamba nogu, they say in Runyankole. I mean, I do not know it that well, but they make it seem okay. And sadly, you must know someone to stand a chance. How much you studied doesn't make you a choice. For example, even when you graduate, that doesn't work in the Uganda we live in. Everyone knows that. Wow. But these anti-corruption agencies told me a recipe that would change Uganda as I see it 2030. When corruption ends, we shall have enhanced trust and confidence, rule of law and justice, economic growth and investment, poverty reduction and social welfare, improved public services. They showed me a Uganda where corruption was normal, when public officials serve with honesty and integrity, where public institutions were accountable and transparent, where public trust and confidence was restored and enhanced, where citizens are empowered and engaged. Then we all have a voice. Don't give a deaf ear to the citizens' cry. Don't close your eyes to the greedy. Do not let your silence take you. Do not fear, because your voice matters. The war against corruption is winnable. Your eyes are the mouth to report. Your eyes are the mouth to report. Don't play the blame game. See it, condemn it, report it. Stakeholders, the government, the CSOs, individuals, public and private sectors, the GIZ, IGG, PPDA, and anti-corruption unit, all in a collective effort, united together as one, and people being whistleblowers. See something? Say something. A common quote that Honorable Henry always says. Is it too much to ask citizens? Is it too much to ask for you just to report corruption? Why do you want to engage in something that even the Bible doesn't allow? Why? Is it because you benefit from it? Well, all that I ask is make partnerships, be solid, say no to a catchy envelope. And then this is the lifestyle we will have, with a quality education, with quality hospitals, when everyone is treated equally, not because you have money and someone doesn't have. With this, we do not have to dream of Singapore or China or any other country that fought corruption. We can make Uganda the Pearl of Africa we dream of. If you're not determined to finish what is determined to finish us, then surely we'll finish. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's what they call saving best for last. Eh? It's a good way to crown it. So where are my Kanyamas? I invited some strong people. Okay, I'll appoint those two guys to come and drag this thing. Take it. Look, these people are coming. Don't you? Which one should we use? This or this? Both of them? This one. Best debaters. Sometimes they're called best speakers. I'm not very tall, so trying to. May I invite Mr. Chigozi to come and help us award this certificate of merit, Uganda Speech and Debate Champions League 2023. This certificate is awarded to Agaba Irene, 10th Best Speaker for the guest teams. The second certificate is awarded to Otim Emmanuel Daniel, 9th Best Speaker, guest teams. The third certificate is awarded to Kweboy Larry Jeremiah, 8th Best Speaker. You know, when you're generous, your world lives in that order. So when you upload people, it's usually that the next upload is coming to you. Usually the people looking gloomy don't earn anything, so be nice. The next certificate going to the 7th Best Speaker, Lagen Peter. The 6th Best Speaker, Chigun Rahman. The 5th Best Speaker, Biaruhanga Shama Prince. The 4th Best Speaker, Kabogoza Hussein. The 3rd Best Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, and this one will receive a medal, a bronze medal, with their name inscribed, and this is Ogenrothon Gedeon. Our silver medalist is Wakameri Gideon. And our top debater from the guest teams that will win a gold medal is Musasi Fahad. Hashim, may I receive the other set of certificates, please? For the next set of certificates, may I invite Hajat from ISO to come and help us award this. Thank you very much, Mr. Chikozi. Please clap for Mr. Chikozi and Hajat as she comes. And these are the champions. 10th best, Abenaito Ian. 10th best. Ninth best, Tumwesije Jeremiah Ateni. 8th best, Mogume Elvin. Mogume Elvin. 7th best, Kanyigina Doreen Marjorie. It doesn't seem to be around. So. 6th best, Nuwagaba Wright. 5th best, Mweru Victor. 4th best, Turumaire Berak. Our bronze medalist is Alinda Rally Musimenta. Our silver medalist is Chiraga Jed. Oh, these are actually tying. They are both third best. So they'll both get gold, sorry, bronze. And second best, silver medalist. Silver medalist, Mbale Jonathan. I recall like Mbale was gold medalist last year, so it's not a bad way to finish this. And our gold medalist is Magom Raymond. Thank you very much, Hajat. I appreciate it. Please give a round of applause to Hajat. We are now going to award the schools. I'll be reading the coach's name, and they will bring me the pack of certificates. Those certificates have a board for the school, which you can hang somewhere. It's always good to do that. It leaves a big legacy. There are people that get inspired by these things. And then your student certificates debaters are in there. So I'll be reading the coach because I have those certificates here. And for those, I would like Mr. Aina. Mr. Aina, please come. Looks like there's a debate after the main debates over there. And being that there are 3 speakers, I don't know who is cross-examining who. We'll start off with Mr. Ayebare Moses Kitts, who coaches a team from St. Mary's College Rushoroza in Kabale. Mr. Ayebare is actually a teacher of IT, but he's very passionate about debate and debate coaching. He's one of those teachers who have demystified the myth that debate coaches must be teachers of English language and literature. Thank you, Mr. Ayebare. Okay, the next is Miss Apin Rebecca. I want to believe this is Coach Code High School. Miss Apin Rebecca, thank you very much for coaching your students. Mr. Mugume Elvin. Mr. Mugume Elvin, are you here? Which school could that be? Now this one is a little son of mine, but anyway, he's a Mr. all the same. He's a lawyer in training, so Mr. Olindi Felix. Mr. Olindi Felix is a 2019 champion. National champion 2019, and he's now coaching Kawempe Muslim. And you know Kawempe Muslim was in the finals at NSDC and the finals here, so the champion is doing a very good job. Mr. Edakas Simon, this is Cornerstone Leadership Academy boys. Is Mr. Edakas here? Okay, can we get the Cornerstone certificates if they are here? Mr. Nyerogang Gabriel. Is that Resto? Restore High School. Please come over with your coach and receive your certificates. Come. I'm not just inviting the coaches. Was I saying right? Were students coming with the coaches? Looks like not. You guys, you come, have good manners. You accompany your coach. This is coach. Now this name, I need to breathe in and out. Aijukwa Mukama Patience. Miss Aijukwa Mukama Patience. I think I tried. Please come with all your students. Come on, be nice to the ladies and give them a clap as they come. Is this bond counseling? Is it? Okay. So this is bond counseling all the way from Isinjiro. All the way from Isinjiro. Next is Coach Natweta Bosa. Mr. Natweta Bosa. All right. With your students. Is this St. Charles? Oh, this is Chisoro Vision. Chisoro Vision, Mr. Chief Guest, Chisoro Vision, all the way from Chisoro. Where is Chisoro Vision? Where is their board? Oh, these were in the semis. Oh, okay. So these were in the semis, the board will be printed. Miss Kamaramaji Zaitun, Muni Girls, all the way from Arua. Ginger SS, I'm seeing here Miss Alum Susan, I know she's not here, but please come. Team Ginger SS. Where is Ginger SS? Oh, they're here. One of the very hardworking coaches I know who's been around for quite a while. Congratulations, my sister. And this is Ginger Senior Secondary School. For them, they are not just a senior school, but they are senior secondary. And Coach Aleku Asizia Prudential, all the way from Koboko, St. Charles Luanga, Koboko. Also another very passionate coach. She doesn't speak a lot. She acts more. But very, very hardworking and very passionate. I'm looking forward to visiting them in Koboko next year. Coach Batura Eric Gomshabe, probably the most hilarious coach we have. Coach Eric, is he here? Ntare School. Please come. Ntare School, I know your board and other things will be coming, but just come and receive this. Oh, he's around actually. He's around. I thought I was talking about you in your absence, but here we are. Thank you very much, Eric, for being very passionate about debate. Eric will go for any debate anywhere. He's that passionate. He will always create opportunities for his students because he knows his club is big. So he wants to create opportunities for them, and we recognize him. Thank you, Eric. Mr. Otim David Lewis. Mr. Otim David Lewis. Please come with your team. This is Secret Heart, right? Secret Heart SS Gulu. Champions 2011. I know the girls are not with you, but thank you for supporting them. Mr. Rugumayo James Hannington. Rugumayo James Hannington. This must be Nakasura School. Yes. Where are the boys and the girls? You came alone?
No, they're outside.
Oh, they are networking. Miss Nanteza Annette. Miss Nanteza Annette, Mengo Senior School, please come with the team. Please come with the team. I'm sure none of you doubts the capacity, potential, and all the other things that come with these things of Mengo Senior School. And Coach Annette, thank you very much, Annette, for being there for these young people. This thing here, you guys are not done with the students. There's few of you. It's the world waiting for you. You should go to the same university and be on the same team. And terrorize people there. Mr. Chimbukwe Joseph. Mr. Chimbukwe Joseph. Mr. Chimbukwe Joseph of St. Mary's College, Subi. St. Mary's College, Subi, our reigning national champions. Our reigning national champions, I know they are under a lot of pressure to defend their trophy. A lot of pressure. Miss Aturinde Edson. Oh, this is not Miss. Mr. Aturinde Edson. And finally, with what I have, Mr. Wamukwe Bruno. Mr. Wamukwe Bruno, this must be Mbale Senior Secondary School. Thank you very much. There's been such a revolution at Mbale SSS. I think in a pretty short time, the quality of debate has really gone up, and I want to congratulate you, my brother, for doing a great job at Mbale SS. Congratulations to you guys. Okay, just a couple of certificates here before the trophy comes. We decided to award some outstanding individuals. The best female debater from the champion side, Kanyiginya Doreen Marjorie. We are also awarding the best male debater, who is Magom Raymond. We also have Musasiz Fahad, who is best debater with the certificate here, and Magom Raymond. No, you're going to stay here. I'll be calling the other guests to join you in a few minutes. We have the top in public speaking, and this is, you see, teachers of 2013, right? Like doctors. I don't know which name this is, but the other name is Gift. Gift. Somebody Gift. Which name is this? This is Mahoro. Mahoro Gift. Third best in public speaking. Second best in public speaking, Otim Daniel. Winner public speaking, Now, this girl is my daughter's friend, but I'm still working on my pronunciations. Samrawit, let's go with that. Best public speaking. And in the poetry category, please just come and shake hands with Miss Aina and stay here. Best poetry, Aringa Daniel, second best poetry. And the best poetry is Hammond. Storytelling, second best, Anek. This one again, Pius. I think you know yourself. If you participated in storytelling and your first name is Pius, just come here. And best storytelling, Arjuna Bridget. Your medals will be sent to you. I said, if you want to get in touch with us, please get Cochrana's number. If you want us to send them to your school when the term starts, just stay put and we'll do that. Now for this, I would like to invite Director James and General to come, and Mr. Chigozi to come to the stage. We can't read, but you can give them. Okay, so this is how the guest schools ranked. The school that ranks in position number 4 among the guest schools is Kisoro Vision. Please give a round of applause to them. The school that ranks 3rd and will get bronze medal is God High School. And for the champs, the school that ranks 4th is St. Mary's College, Subi. The school that ranks 3rd is Kira College, Butiki. Now, this last bit requires some bit of accountability, so I usually don't want to carry other people's crosses. So the chief adjudicator should come here and tell us with justifications who the winner of the guests and the winner of the champs is.
Thank you very much, Chief. I, Gabriel, was the chair for the next debate, so I'll give you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the guest final, we had Mbale Secondary School versus Kawempe Muslim Secondary School. And on a split ballot of 3-2, it was really close because we had a very good debate. The team that wins this year's finals is Kawempe Muslim Secondary School.
government officials. The team that won this debate was one that showed us why it is necessary to take a radical measure to fight corruption. That was a simple question. We were presenting you with a radical measure. We needed you to show us why would we rather take that direction when there are several other.
Okay. So we needed you to show us why we would rather take that direction that is radical, dangerous, and implicates individuals, even those that are not guilty. And all the 5 judges, unanimously, without deliberation, agreed that, ladies and gentlemen, the team that wins this year's Champions of the Champions debate is none other than Ntare School. Now that is how they clap. That is how they clap. Congratulations, Ntare.
DJ,